Welcome to
Backstage
with Millionaires,
the show where we have just hit 500K subscribers on YouTube. And also, I think we recently crossed 1 lakh on Instagram. Or was that a while back?
Yeah, that was a while back.
Okay. Let's jump straight into the questions here. I think there was one that you wanted to lead with.
Okay, so before we start with any questions, there was one comment which was very interesting, and this was from Shubham, and he says that please do this Q&A fast, or else you'll have to do a 1 million Q&A instead of 500K. So thank you very much for all the love and the kind of high hopes that you guys have from us, and I hope that we can continue to build onto that and continue to deliver on the kind of content and the kind of expectations that you have from us. So now we'll go to
Asia's trying to steal the thunder here.
So now we'll actually get to the questions and see what questions you have asked. We have, I think, selected the top 10 questions from all the questions that we did receive on YouTube as well as Instagram. And we'll try our level best to answer to the best of our abilities, and also to try make sure that we can keep them brief so that this video doesn't go too long. Who has the first question?
You actually have the first question.
Okay.
So I just realized we should probably introduce ourselves because there's some of us, I'm sort of there on the camera.
Yeah.
Pankaj is now taking a more active role doing that as well. In fact, I think a lot of people are like, I've noticed whenever I make a short now, people will comment and be like, where's the Indian guy? I want the Indian guy. And I think it used to be the same way when Prithvi would show up and do like a live stream or something, and people would be like, where's Caleb? Like, who's this? Right? So we should actually introduce ourselves. I'm Caleb. Prithvi and I started this YouTube channel, Backstage with Millionaires. We started recording these episodes back in December of 2018, sitting down with entrepreneurs, getting them to share their stories. Posted the first video January 1st of 2019. Yeah. And so I never actually planned to be in front of the camera. But as time went on, people told me, hey, like you should be there in the content that you're making. And so I sort of became the face of Backstage with Millionaires, even though originally I was just planning on being the camera guy / video editor. My role evolved over time. And then Prithvi, you can maybe talk a bit about your...
So my name is Prithvi, and like Caleb said, we both started this channel, and I basically do the backstage things for Backstage with Millionaires. And the things that you don't see on the camera, the things that you don't see on the YouTube channel. So everything behind that. So I started with scheduling the interviews, then I sort of got into the business side of it. And now we do have quite a few interesting things that we are trying to build onto the distribution that we have built on YouTube. And I am working on that. So
courses
and a few more things. Towardsventures.com is a website that we just launched. And we are also trying to build something on top of that, which I'm sure we'll be announcing very soon in the future. And so I'm basically the backstage guy for Backstage with Millionaires.
And then Pankaj, you joined in, was it 2020?
Yeah, I joined in November of 2021, sort of to expand,
Wait, is 2021?
Yeah.
Time is so weird. Okay, anyways, go ahead.
So I think before joining, like I had a discussion with Caleb and Prithvi that we want to do more content, but we are sort of struggling with scripts and, ideas and all the pre-production sort of, the entire thing. So that was my first role, my first hat, sort of right from the idea to sort of filming, right? The entire research, writing and everything. In last 4 months, we started doing shorts, and since I read every day about Indian startup ecosystem, I was like, I can do that, right? All I have to do is in the morning, come up with the news and sort of make a reel about it, right? So since 4 months, you guys would have seen me on Reels. And very recently, we started doing these debates that me and Caleb both do together. It twice every month. Going ahead, plan to do more new innovative content, whether it's a case study, whether it's other kind of educational content. So stay tuned.
And Pankaj is also the co-founder of the parent company of Backstage with Millionaires, which is Towards Ventures Private Limited, which we've founded when?
July of 2021.
July of 2021. Okay. Pankaj came in as a third co-founder and as a stakeholder. And then Jay joined us also in 2021, is it?
Yep, August.
The first time you've been on the camera.
Yeah. I'm always behind the camera.
Well, not really. I mean, you have your own personal YouTube channel, right?
I stopped that way long back.
But you've been
First
on camera.
First time on camera in this channel. What do I say?
I don't know. Introduce. I mean, talk about what you do.
Just when you joined.
Yeah, so first, I actually joined in July as an intern. Then in August, I got the full-time job here.
Was
And-
it 2021?
Yeah, 2021. And then,
Oh, July to July, it's been 2 years.
yeah, exactly.
Looking at his watch. There's no calendar.
No, this is the thing.
Remember the time you joined?
Yeah, it was like 12:30 in the afternoon.
Okay.
You're like really proving your T-shirt.
Yeah.
Jay's also you're also a foodie. That's one thing I know.
Yeah, I used to eat a lot, not anymore.
No, but like every restaurant in Bangalore pretty much.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bengaluru. I'm gonna get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let's move on.
All right. Let's move on, please. So the first question is actually for Prithvi.
Okay, so it's from Parish Chris. At least that's how the username sounds. And the question is, seeing you grow from the days when videos had that intro sound to where you have come today is such an amazing journey. And what are your thoughts on the idea of making the audience more aware about the Indian startup ecosystem and increasing the inclination of college students towards the startup mindset and providing them the financial literacy required for the same? So there are actually two very different factors in this particular question. So I won't really be talking about the financial literacy because that becomes a very different topic. But what do we do at Backstage with Millionaires and talk about the startup ecosystem? So idea of making the the audience more aware about the startup ecosystem, well, that's what we are trying to do. And we are trying to make it more interesting. We are trying to get more and more interesting ways to deliver content, be it the structure, be it the delivery. And we will try to keep innovating on that front. And obviously, people who have been following us for a while would have seen that we started with like one-way interviews, and we actually have come a long way. We now have at least 4 to 5 different kind of content that we do. Now, talking about the increasing the inclination for the college students, there I would say that a lot is already happening. I first started in interacting with the college students in 2013 and 14, and that time, even the concept of entrepreneurship cells in colleges was a very new concept. And now there are entrepreneurship cells pretty much everywhere. There are like very big events happening in all the colleges. Students have access to these student communities, Discord servers, and also there are actually a lot of startups which have come into that particular field. So I think there are a lot of opportunities, and if you really want to just be a part of it, I'm sure there are actually a lot of. I'm not active on Discord, Caleb. I think you are
A little bit.
yeah. So there are a lot of these communities. So the first thing would be just to be aware about what is happening in the ecosystem. Backstage with Millionaires can help you with that, and also be a part of some of those communities where you'll have people who are like-minded and also in the same age group as you. And I think that could be a good beginning, and that could be a good start for your entrepreneurship career, or at least if you just want to update yourself about the startup ecosystem.
I would say too about college students, like I would say our audience is spread across 18 to 34 years of age.
Correct.
Primarily male, mainly based in India. And I think that demographic, there's a huge chunk of that, which is college students.
Yep.
And so for me personally, like if I had to say what my mission is with Backstage with Millionaires and the content that we make, it would be sort of two sides of the same coin. One would be to encourage college students to start up. Like I'm a college dropout myself. I won't personally recommend to anyone that you should drop out, but if that's where things are headed, then don't think that you're doing something wrong, because it can lead to amazing things. And I mean, in the US, we've seen, right, like the likes of Steve Jobs and other famous entrepreneurs that dropped out of college. But don't. I don't know. I'm going to get a lot of angry parents commenting on this video saying, my kid dropped out after you told them to. But the other side of that coin is things to avoid, right? So we also cover some of the negative situations that are happening in the ecosystem as well. So just educating people generally and trying to encourage people to get into business, but getting into business in the right way and not following the wrong examples, right? The people who are actually cutting corners or building their startups in an unsustainable way. So next question is for Pankaj.
It's not really a question. I think first part is a comment saying from someone called Pathak Vignesh 1681. I'm a visually impaired, so I just listen to your videos. Still, I can appreciate it. You guys deserve this. So that means a lot to us, Vignesh. All I have to say is stay tuned. We have so much more that we're going to bring in next few months. Second part of the same question is, how do you do research to support your points/theories? Explain in detail. And I think there were a couple more questions on Instagram, sort of, asking the same thing. How do we do research? What's the entire, I would say, script writing process? There was one from Shreyas_here on Instagram. Same question, how do you do the research about what's happening in the startup ecosystem? I would say it's the entire process, right? First, you have to come up with what you want to talk about, right? The topic of the video that you're going to make. And I think for that, you have to sort of, I would say, educate yourself about the Indian startup ecosystem and be there every day, right? Be on those social media platforms, or read those websites like Inc42, Your Story, and sort of, keep you around those people who talk about startup ecosystem.
Would also really recommend the Ken and the Morning Context.
Yeah.
Those are
and
incredible.
Yeah, there are a lot of amazing journalists on Twitter who sort of update you about what's happening every day, right? So I'd say once you become part of that ecosystem, you just know what is going to work, right? What is something that more people are interested in. There are tools like, if you go to Inc42, if you go to Your Story, you have that feature where they say is the trending stories, right? So that's another thing to give you idea that what is it that more people are talking about. So you pick topics from there. When it comes to writing, I would say first read as much as you can about that, then sort of write first draft. That's your hypothesis basically. Then I would say, whatever the data points are there, you sort of cross check and verify from other sources, right? It could be old articles from Economic Times, or, on Twitter, someone's posts, right? Some founder of a startup has actually given, data points about their startup. So that's, I would say, the first-hand information, right? The first-hand source. So, that is sort of, that's the second part, second draft you write after verifying all of those. That I would say, then whoever is speaking, they sort of paraphrase it the way they're going to speak about that, particular topic. So I would say that's the entire research journey, nothing complicated. It's just that you have to know where to find, those data points. And most of it is just, Googling, right? Writing the perfect query in Google search and sort of finding the right info for that.
It's like a funnel, right? Where at the top of the funnel, there's just a bunch of information. And the job that we have to do is take all of that info, aggregate it into a small document, and then summarize it in a way that sounds like our voice, right? Take information that's not our voice and transform it into something that is, and is well enough communicated that people understand what we're trying to say, and hopefully take something away from it.
Another thing is, if more websites have covered that through different sources. So I think that's another way of sort of, verifying from multiple sources. So yeah, next is for Jay. This question is regarding what softwares we use. So
Okay, so this question is by Singh Vianant. I butchered that, I guess. The comment is, congratulations team. I want to ask you, what softwares do you use to edit your videos? So I personally use Premiere Pro and After Effects. I tag along Photoshop with it for images to add in the video, and sometimes, rarely, I add parallax effects. I used to use HitFilm 4, and yeah, that's about it. I've never touched Final Cut and stuff.
I've used Final Cut; it's pretty good. But what are some software, what are some tools that we use that help with our? Because I feel for example, upscaling is something we're doing more of now. Are there any other tools or plugins that you use specifically?
There's one upscaling tool I use for free. I don't remember the website name. It's just search image upscale and it's the first thing that comes up.
I use Cupscale. That's a free software as well.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't use anything for videos though, upscaling them. We usually shoot in 4K and we get 4K footages online, so.
Yeah. Okay, next question is from me. So what are some of the biggest threats that you received, if any? If any. I don't think we've ever we've never gotten any serious threats. But there have been times when we upset people with the things that we did. Sometimes intentionally, but most of the time unintentionally. So one example of that I clearly remember, because it was like such a panic moment. We had spent roughly 3 months working on this video, which was about why Tesla had not entered the Indian market yet. We chose a border for our video when we showed the map of India that was not the correct one. And I think I shared the video with you guys, not with you guys, but you specifically. And I was like, is it all good? Does the video look good? And you're like, yep, looks great. And even the border of China that we showed in that video too, because it's Tesla, and so they have a presence in China. So we also wanted to show that map of China. It also included, I think, a part of Arunachal Pradesh as well. So we made the video live. We're so excited. We're like, this is gonna go viral, and it did actually end up performing extremely well. But we got a lot of angry people saying like, you got the border wrong. And I think the assumption is just that it's intentional, and we're sort of like working with the Chinese Communist Party or something. And this
Pakistanis.
and the Pakistanis as well. Like, they're both sponsoring the video. So we used YouTube's own, and it was like such a panic moment, right? Like, because I thought we had to delete the video. I was like, I think we have to delete it and re-upload it. But by that point, I think we had already crossed like 10,000 views, and that was the most we had ever seen in any video ever before. So we didn't want to do that. So the solution, and you can still go back and watch the video. It has this in the video itself. We used YouTube's own internal editing software to sort of retroactively blur the video, and the whole map just was completely blurred. And then people would comment and be like, why is this like, why did you guys blur the map? What's wrong? Because they didn't know what had previously happened with all those angry comments. But I would say that was probably the moment where I realized we need to be more careful. And we've actually still messed up the map like multiple times, because it's just hard. We're making so much content, sometimes we don't even notice.
Okay, so the next question is from Dipankar Paul Official is his username. And what is the long-term vision of this channel? So when we started this channel, I was very clear that we want to create a distribution platform that can be used to sort of promote different products and different things. So it always had to be a community where different stakeholders of the startup ecosystem could collaborate onto different things. And even the tagline that we have been thinking about this is making the startup ecosystem more accessible. So that has always been the idea. Obviously, when we were beginning with it, someone had told me that if you just make content for 6 months straight, you will end up hitting 100,000 subscribers, and your channel will just blow. So we were waiting for that, and it took us obviously much more than those 6 months, or much more than those 50 videos that we were initially having in our mind. But now that in the last year or two, we have started to see a great response, almost every kind of content that we are doing is getting a great response. Now we have finally started to build on top of the distribution that we have had. So the long-term vision, if you say, so obviously to bring all the stakeholders, or at least the majority of stakeholders, onto a platform and to enable some sort of collaboration. So let's say someone who wants to give back in terms of his knowledge can give to the people who want to join the startup ecosystem. Anyone who wants to raise funds can raise funds from there. Anyone who wants to hire can hire from that platform. So basically one platform which is enabling different sorts of collaboration among different stakeholders of the ecosystem. That is like the eventual goal. But now we are going step by step. We started with the courses. We have also started with a directory to showcase some of the startups. And later we'll see like step by step where we can take it. But the eventual goal, like I said, remains to bring pretty much every stakeholder onto that platform. And the second part of this is for you, Caleb.
Yeah.
What's your vision?
What's my vision? Well, being a foreigner living in India, I see scope for us to expand specifically the content, because that's what I've been focusing on for the last 4+ years, to other countries. Because I feel like what we're doing here is working well, and there are other ecosystems out there that are doing impressive work in the startup world. We have never really spread ourselves that thin or expanded in that direction, just because currently our bandwidth sort of only allows us to accommodate the Indian startup ecosystem. I think we would probably expand it in a sort of almost franchised way, if you can call it that, where maybe someone else would be leading a channel for a different country. They would handle everything from, editing to script writing, researching, and just sort of using the Backstage with Millionaires name, because we don't have the bandwidth to have oversight over, every cousin or sister or whatever you want to call it channel. But that's something I've wanted to do for a while, and it's just a question of when will it make the right. I didn't tell you this, but I was in talks with someone from like Nigeria at one point who watches our videos and was like, I'd love to start something like this in Nigeria. And I was like, that would make a lot of sense. Like Nigeria is an ecosystem that everyone's talking about. There's so many startups happening there. And I'm sure that there's no YouTube channel to cover what's going on. And it never ended up working out. I think the person got busy. They were building their own startup. But anyone from Nigeria,
But I think I had told you there was this guy who was representing the VC firm backed by the government of Japan. And
they
wanted to do that.
Backstage with Millionaires Japan.
Yeah, I think that was the first time we spoke about this idea. They wanted to do quite a few things, but things didn't work out because, again, multiple factors. But yeah, I think a lot of people do want to sort of at least explore that idea, if not do that. And maybe we'll end up doing it for someone. Let's see.
And then the last question was, any plan to do a startup? I think you're doing. So yeah.
Yeah, we're
a startup.
Yeah, from day one, we have been thinking ourselves as startup, and that's pretty much how we have been working as well. And now that we finally also have product, if YouTube channel is not considered as a product, we also have something on top of that. So, like I said, we are taking baby steps now, and we have something very big in the plans and in the mind. So
I think the way that people often do distribution is like we're working almost in reverse, right? Most of the time you build the product or service that you want to sell, and then you raise venture capital most of the time, and then you just burn a bunch of money and you pay for advertising, right? So we've basically built the advertising ourselves. We have there's 5 lakh of you guys out there watching these guys and gals watching these videos. There's 1 lakh people on Instagram, and so we already have that, and we've built it not for free. Like it's been expensive to build, but we haven't raised or diluted equity to do that. And I like to think that we're in that category of profitable, bootstrapped Indian startups. And I think, I'm proud of that.
So next question is for all of us. It's from Rajendra Kumar 7777. He says, hello भैया जी, आप लोग कहाँ रहते हो? तो राजेंद्र, हम सब लोग बैंगलोर में रहते हैं. हमारा ऑफिस भी इधर ही है.
Very, very short.
That's all you wanted to know. Where do you guys live?
Yeah. Been living here. You guys have lived here a lot longer than I have.
Yep. Most part of the last 13 years.
Wow. And you for 10?
Yeah.
Wow. For me, I'm only here since 2018, I think I shifted here. 2017, I was in Delhi.
Okay.
And then 2018, I shifted. After 1 year in Delhi, I shifted to Bengaluru.
And Jay, you shifted in 2021?
No, I also shifted in 2018.
Okay.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought you said you lived here most of your life.
No, so when I was a kid, I used to stay here from like my 3rd grade to 7th grade.
That's
and
what?
then I moved to Delhi. And then in 2018, I came back to Bangalore for college.
Okay.
And since then, I'm here.
Does Bengaluru feel like home?
Yeah, that's why I shifted here.
Next one is for me. So, I still don't know how to. I just know you as the Pikachu DP. Tamanna, right? Is it?
Tamanna 4697.
Tamanna 4697. First of all, big thanks for always commenting on our videos. You guys make amazing stuff and deserve way more. But after the weekly news series break, which I took because I got married in 2022, did you worry about your stats? Also want to thank you for your entire team. Thank you and your entire team for making all of these informative videos. Thank you so much for the appreciation. And we really did, truly. It was like catastrophic. So it took us so long to kind of recover from that lull. We were seeing numbers that you would expect from a channel with like sub 50K or like sub 10K subscribers. in Feb of 2023 because of that break. I guess it's just the way the algorithm works that when you take a break, it just kind of stops and people kind of forget about you, right? Because it's the internet and there's so many competing voices and channels and personalities that if you're not making content like every week or multiple times a week, people just don't see your face in their feed and then they forget about you, which is the way that, I think we all use YouTube, right? So we're currently kind of trying to avoid that eventuality again because I am going to be super busy. My wife and I are expecting our first kid, and that's going to be happening on October 5th is when they're saying she's due. And so from October onwards, probably for the remainder of 2023, my attention is going to be split into, different directions. I'll be certainly actively involved at Backstage with Millionaires to be sure. But I also want to make sure that I'm not a bottleneck for the channel. So that's actually one of the reasons why we thought, it would be a good idea for Pankaj to start making short form content and also kind of coming in with debates now as well and case studies so that you guys are sort of more familiar with him. And probably this is just realistically what will probably end up happening is if and when I need to take a little break at some point towards the end of the year, then Pankaj will sort of pick up where I've left off and handle the news videos as well during that time period. And then once I'm back, I'll be back in the news video seat.
Yeah, and I think one part about this question is we definitely were worried about our stats. And I think one thing we learned from this entire period is as a creator, you should know why your audience have subscribed to you, right? So what we thought was we can just take a break and when we come back, we can sort of start creating those podcasts. We sort of, started, with back in 2019. But after taking the break, we realized that most of our audience are there to sort of, for news videos and our case studies, right? So I think as a creator, that's very important basically to understand your audience and, why they are there. Just because they're there, you can't take them for granted and just start creating, any content that you want to make. So that was a big learning.
From the funny one, 9148. I don't know why Jay, wrong spelling, but I relate. Nice t-shirt. Yeah, this t-shirt is actually a brand which I created 2-3 months back. My brother helps me out a bit in creating designs and stuff. And we have launched a couple of designs so far. And yeah, that's about it.
What is it's a clothing brand?
Yeah, for now, I have bigger plans for it, but for now I just started as a clothing brand. So.
And can people buy it?
You can buy it from Instagram. Should we link it down below or should I just put it on the screen?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Sure. Yeah.
You're going to be editing the video, so you have complete control.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is really tricky. Hello there, great work Backstage with Millionaires team. And could we know how much money has been invested into BWM till date and how much money has it generated for you guys till date? I'm asking this because I'm planning to start something in this Indian startup news category. Okay, he's very specific.
Stay out of my territory.
I'm not sure if I remember the exact numbers, but so we have been profitable for most part of last 2 years and a lot of money hasn't gone there. But in the initial 2.5 to 3 years, there was the money which I had been investing into Backstage with Millionaires. And pretty much most of it was just the salaries. We didn't have an office. We were not really using any sort of, we didn't really have any fancy equipments. I think the first time we bought lights was in 2021. Pretty much 2 years after we started the channel. We did start with 2 cameras. I had 1 camera, Caleb had 1 camera, and I think we just worked with those for 2 years. But still, if I have to give you a rough figure, let's say we have spent maybe around 40 to 50 lakhs in the first 3 years. But post that, obviously, like I said, we have been profitable and all the money that we have made has been reinvested into the channel. So now, again, I don't want to give the exact figures of how much we make and how much we have made in the last 2 years. But like I said, now we have a pretty good studio, which we did invest quite a bit of money. We have pretty good equipment as well. And I think I saw that comment from someone that Indian podcasters using this particular mic. So I think the equipments that we have been using now are on that top of the line category. So all of this has basically been possible because of the money that we have made from Backstage with Millionaires in the last 2 years. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
But I think there's an interesting thing here, which is that, if you're watching this, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong camera.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, I want to start a YouTube channel. Does it really cost me 40 to 50 lakh to start?
No, I think, like I said, we started with the cameras that we were using for our personal use before. And that's pretty much how, and I also remember Caleb, you saying sometime that we did not have the initial success. So you basically learn that that's a process. If you start small, start with minimum resources possible, you basically learn about the entire journey, about the struggles of that, and that teaches you a lot of things. So, and honestly, no one can be perfect. We tried being perfect from day one. We tried different, but the thing is, in the journey, you actually have to learn. Just start anywhere, wherever possible, and that's pretty much why I always try to jump onto things. But you can always get better into the process. So don't think that you need a studio as good as us. You need a mic. Maybe I think this costs 60,000 rupees, right?
40,
40, 50, yeah.
Which was my salary for the first. This was my 1 month salary. It was one of these, and now we have 3 around the table.
Correct. So I think as creators, and I'm sure I'm no creator, and there are a lot of other people who can give you much better tips on this. But in our journey, in our process, I think start with the minimum resources possible, because you can do the best that you can, and there will always be someone better with the equipments and with the resources. So it doesn't really cost a lot to start a YouTube channel. All it needs is a consistency. I think we created more than 200 videos in the first 2 years. I think we only broke that schedule once or twice in the first 2 years, and every week we were having 2 completely new, completely original interviews, and still we had 8,000 subscribers at the end of 2 years, around 21, 22 months. October of 2020, we still had 8,000 subscribers. So consistency is one. We could have given up and we wouldn't be here where we are right now. But yeah, we were consistent. We were going there. We were pretty much making content, and that's why we are here.
I would add one thing though, which is that consistently making content that no one wants to watch is probably not a recipe for success.
True.
So I think we definitely heard that first part from a lot of people, and there was a lot of creators that said consistency is the number one thing. And so we did that, and we consistently made videos that nobody was watching and nobody wanted to watch, not even ourselves, not our family members. We would share we would do it was basically like a podcast, but without the two-way part. It was just monologuing, right? Pointing the camera at the guest and telling them to talk for 20 minutes. And even they wouldn't watch it, nor would they share it with their audience most of the time. So I think a lot of the people that I talked to, I would say, they'd be like, so I took a look at your channel before I agreed to do this interview, and I kind of just did it because I feel sorry for you guys, but why are you doing this? And what are you hoping to gain from this, right? And if I could offer one suggestion, I don't think this is what people want to watch, right? Do something more interesting. And they gave a bunch of ideas of how to make it more interesting, but I just blocked that out because I was like, that's just noise, right? We're going to succeed with this format, and we're not going to change it because we need to be consistent and we need to be stubborn, and eventually the world will accept our content. And that was the wrong strategy. And a lot of time, energy, and money was wasted. And as soon as that switch in my brain flipped that actually maybe we're not doing the right thing and maybe we need to try something new, I actually remember, I think the first piece of content that we made that wasn't those monologue content. I mean, eventually we did a two-way podcast. That sort of did evolve at some point once I got sort of the confidence to get in front of the camera, which took me 8 months of making those videos twice a week. I finally stepped in front, but then I made my first talking head video where it was just me and the camera, and we talked about oil. And I think that you recommended that, right? There was some bombshell expose piece that came on the was it Wall Street or New York Times or something?
I don't remember that, but yeah, I remember you did it in Excel.
You were like, we should cover this, and I was like, well, we've never done that before, and I don't even remember why you thought to do that? I guess
No,
we
because
were
I think
desperate.
People were desperate, and I think that was going on. And even we were desperate.
We were desperate to
Yeah.
we were like, this isn't working. Let's try something new, right?
And also by that time, I think you had a let's say office space, Excel, so you could just film there. And also I think that news was everywhere. And I thought, because we are trying to be that enabler of the startup ecosystem, we should also try and make content on this. Like, we cannot be. So that was just an experiment, and I'm glad that worked out. I mean, that didn't work out, I think.
No, it did. I think it did perform reasonably well compared to our other content. Yeah. And that video took me like 6 hours to film, and I was sweating and I was like stinky because I was so nervous and uncomfortable being in front of the camera in such a direct way. And I cared so much about how I like said words and phrased things. It was exhausting. I was like, we're never doing this again. And then we did it right away again. And we made a top 10 video about India's top 10 solar panel startups. And I think that's when, and then those videos started to perform so well that I kind of just, I was like, how have we missed this whole time, right? So don't get, I guess the takeaway here, if you had to take something away from this, is like, don't get tunnel vision. Don't just sort of be rigid, right? Do something for like 1 or 2 months consistently. And if it doesn't work after that and you don't get the response that you're hoping for, even despite your best efforts, try to tweak it, right? Don't do a 180, because then even you will feel unstable that who am I? What am I doing? Am I even a content creator, right? Just iterate, right? Improve. And sometimes take a big improvement step, like a pivot, right? Rather than just minute changes. Because even we tried to do minute changes for 8 months of like, adjusting the white balance, adjusting the ISO, like using a different lens, and like it never made any difference because who cares? Nobody cares, right? So anyways,
Yep.
Next one is for Pankaj.
From Shadow Official 77, you make YouTube videos with some millionaires. So then are you too a millionaire? Anyone?
Anyway,
None of us are millionaires.
I'm not even a rupee millionaire.
Yeah, me neither. So we can move on probably.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Next is for you, Caleb. Sudhanshu, one of our ex-employees, wants to ask you this.
Yeah, you're an ex, Sudhanshu. Actually, I just had a call with Sudhanshu the other day. You wanted to know, what will Caleb... Yeah, you said, hi, big fan. You're like, you used to be a part of the team. You're still part of the team. If you ever want to come back, door's always open. I wanted to know, what will Caleb do with his beloved scooter after he retires it?
He's not retired.
Yeah, exactly. Well, who said I'm retiring it? Like, I'm going to drive that thing. There's this term or concept I saw on Reddit, buy for life. There's actually a subreddit, r/buy for life, or maybe buy it for life. And I strongly believe in that sentiment. Like, use something until it's dead. Like, you just can't use it anymore. What's the point?
So you're buying it for Scooter's life or your life?
For my life. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, things don't last that long in 2023. Stuff breaks, right? You're supposed to upgrade your iPhone and all that stuff every year. But the way I do things, I always buy something and then I just use it and use it and use it until it's like completely, like, if you guys could see the shirts that I wear at home when I'm not on the camera, like, they have just holes and stains, and like, I'm not going to throw them out because they're still good. I can still wear them. Right. So yeah, I'm going to drive that scooter till it blows up.
I think your kids are going to learn how to ride on that
scooter. I'm thinking the same. Like, I'm going to, like, 5 years old, I'm going to take them to a dusty field and let them learn how to drive it. And, okay, maybe not 5 years old. They probably can't reach the handlebars at some point.
8.
Is that a good age? What's the norm in India? When does your mom or dad teach you how to drive the scooter? When did you guys learn?
Your parents don't teach you. You learn it by yourself.
Is it?
So, yeah.
What, like you steal the scooter when they're not looking?
Or your friend's scooters.
Yeah. When did you guys learn? Do you know how to drive scooter?
I do, but I don't have a license.
Oh. But you don't drive without a license, do you?
No. I'd rather walk.
Okay.
I learned it, I think, when I was 11. When I came to Bangalore at 14, I could ride a bike, which was,
You could or you couldn't?
I could.
Okay.
I learned too late. I was 16 or something.
Oh.
I learned how to ride a, bicycle when I was 14, 15.
What?
Normally people learn it when they're 8 or something.
Yeah. Wow. I thought cycling was like such a common pastime for Indian kids.
It was, yeah. I think between us, I got the first cycle. It was for me, but I never learned. So
What?
Yeah.
Were you scared or
Yeah, I just gave up, you know.
or you
after,
didn't? You got busy with other things.
I would say I just gave up, you know. After first few days, I was like, I don't want to try this. It's dangerous. I'll find something.
It's dangerous. It is dangerous, actually.
Yeah.
How much does it cost to make a YouTube video with a millionaire?
How much do they charge?
Oh, is that what it means? Or it means the...
This one is again from Shadow Official, by the way.
Okay.
He's
asking
our expenses.
Yeah.
Our numbers.
But I don't know what to...
Be brutally honest. How much does it cost to film a video with a millionaire?
For the millionaire
How much?
us?
How much for us? How much do they usually charge? This is like facts right here. Okay.
No, so they don't charge. We charge them. Usually because we are providing them a platform to showcase themselves and their startup.
Sometimes depends on the guest.
Yeah, but that's what we try to do. Yeah, because we also have to sustain ourselves and make money.
So Cosmic Hosts ask, how can you apply here for an editor? So you can either fill in the form in the description or mail us at work with Backstage with Millionaires? Work at BWM at gmail.com. Okay.
Yeah. And I think our all of our DMs are open. I think
Yeah.
yours is open. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's always that.
You can simply just reach out to us on Backstage with Millionaires Instagram, I think. I'm not sure where that comment was. Was it on YouTube or Instagram?
And it was on YouTube.
Okay.
And I think, for instead of sending us a CV, it's better to send recent work that you have done and the link to it, right? We're not going to open a PDF and, you can't even click a link, in a PDF. So you have to copy it and paste it in the browser. So no one is going to do that. So just send us one link. I think that'll do much better, right, for us and for you than sort of sending entire biodata and CV. So
See, people send bio data.
yeah.
Here's my fingerprint. Here's my iris scan. And the other thing too is when people reach out and they're like, "Hi, can I please have a job?" Or like, "I want to work with you guys." Like, you can't. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's India, but like I don't think people typically work here at a young age, right? Like me, like I got my first job at 13. Right, and that's typical. Like you start working when you're like in your
I think
early.
it's changing now.
Is it?
So 10 years ago, you wouldn't expect someone to work until they were 18. But now I think with the kind of exposure that the entire young generation is having, people are starting to work like much younger. 12, 13, like I get DMs pretty much every day
Yeah.
from people who are like, I'm in 8th standard, I want to work. So I won't say like people here work out of compulsion or, that they have to make some pocket money, but they just want to work because they are curious. And they also see someone around them working in some particular field, and the sheer size of India's population that even if 1% people want to work at that age, that's like tens of millions. So I think that's changing. Like it's much more socially acceptable now for a 13, 14-year-old to work than it was like 10 years ago. I think one very interesting thing about that is you don't realize, but anyone, let's say I was talking about an angel investor for, let's say, entrepreneurs, or a creator for people who want to be researchers and video editors, they get like tens of DMs every single day. So if you are thinking that you are the only one sending them a message, that's not the case. So if the message is simply like, I want a job, or I'll do anything for you, that's not going to be noticed.
I see that a lot.
Yeah.
I'll do anything.
Right.
I ignore all those messages.
Until and unless you make it very clear that, this is what I can help you with. I am an editor. I can make your videos better. I'm a researcher. I can make your research better, at least for us. And if you're also trying to reach out to any other startup, maybe just try to find that one loophole they might have and show like where you can add value, because that's when your message, a cold message, cold email, whatever you're sending, will be more noticeable by those people. And I think another fact about the cold messages and cold emails is that every single message or the mail, like you just get your 1 second of attention. In that, if you can make that count, it's great. Otherwise, once you are ignored, you are just ignored for life.
Ignored for life. That's,
I mean, yeah, no
that's
one,
so hardcore.
you simply just click on spam and no one is going to come back to that, right? So I think, yeah, you get your first impression and yep.
Yeah, I mean, one point to add to the same thing. I think just whichever creator you're DMing, right? Just take out 5-10 minutes, watch one of their videos and actually like find that loophole, right? If you're a writer, just give, exact scenarios that, this is what is lacking and this research part I can fill, right? And as an editor, just take out 1 30-second part and just mention that, this was wrong, this could have been better. I think that, if you do that, I mean, even, person who is reading that mail, they're like, they're valuing our channel enough to actually watch our videos and, apply there.
And not only that, but it's probably a real problem that the creator is facing. If you identify it and say, I can help you solve it, you instantly become like 100x more interesting to that creator.
Yeah. So do you believe in 1,000 true fans philosophy? Then what does 5 lakh subscribers mean to you? And is this channel a lifestyle business to you now? I would say definitely, for anyone, 1,000 true fans, if they are either they're your real critique or they're your real, admirers who can sort of give that, I would say, real, feedback on every video. I think that's more important to any creator, I would say. I think you're making content longer than me. What do you think of those real, true fans?
I don't know. I mean, 1,000 true fans. I don't think I have 1,000 true fans, despite the fact that we have 5 lakh subscribers. I think most people are just like me in the way that I use YouTube. Like I'm not a true fan of anyone on YouTube either. Like there's nobody that I think of as like just someone that I can't get enough of and I have to watch every single one of their videos. If there was anybody, I would say I like to learn a lot from Mr. Beast, just because he talks about YouTube very plainly and in a way that helps us to make better videos. But again, that's very like, it's a utility for me, right? I'm watching his videos not because I love him as a person, but more because of the information that he's able to provide me with. And I think there's maybe one channel that I really do like a lot, which is, maybe there's a good chance for us to say one channel that we really like. No, are you kidding me? Just because he's Canadian? No, I really like Let Me Know. So all the Let Me Know fans, leave a comment down below. You guys know Let Me Know?
Nope.
So good. But he only posts like once a year. So that's
I think you mentioned.
Yeah,
I remember.
so good.
Yeah.
I love his attention to detail. What about you, Jay?
I've been spending less time on YouTube, but as an editor, I follow Hillier Smith a lot. So if you editors are there and looking for tips, you can watch his videos. He's the former video of Logan Paul, and yeah, he has some great advice for editing.
I think for me, channels change every 3 to 6 months, like depending on what I'm learning, things like that. But right now, I think one channel which I don't miss any of videos from is Soch by Mohak Mangal. He sort of creates topics which I sort of also read about and care about. So yeah, if I open YouTube and if his video is there, like I'm not doing anything else but watch that. So good job, Mohak.
Did you know that he does YouTube part-time? Like he doesn't consider it his full-time job?
I mean, till now he used to study, but I think now he's going to do it full-time.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I met him last year in Bangalore when he came to Bangalore. So yeah, till now he was doing his PhD, but I think going ahead he'll take it more seriously and do it full-time.
I don't think I have a favorite channel.
Do you watch YouTube?
No, now that I think of it.
Do you even watch our videos?
I do.
You have to say that.
So I remember it was 2020 and there were like, I think you were doing some interviews and I couldn't follow it for like a month and we were having discussion about something and you were shocked. Do you not watch our videos? Or like, So yeah, no, I do watch all the videos now. I don't get to watch that before they go live due to some of the other things, but yeah, I make it a point to watch pretty much everything.
I mean, if you asked, but it's hard to like. Yeah, we don't really do drafts like, hey, everybody, watch this. And
Yeah, that's what. So at times I know that the discussion is going on within the team, but I only end up watching it once it is live.
she's finally woken up
Yep.
and wants to put her ears between the mic stand.
Okay, we can move ahead.
Yeah, the next one is from Pratik Kadam. And he said, why do you choose India instead of the United States or any other country? So I'm Canadian. So I think natural first choice would have been obviously Canada. And actually I did try Canada as a content creator, as a quote unquote YouTuber back in the day. If you go and watch my personal channel's videos, they're very old. I think like they're more than a decade old at this point. Was very heavily inspired by Casey Neistat. Like many people, thought I'd become a daily vlogger and be famous, and didn't work out. Nobody cared. Nobody cared about my boring little life.
And your experiments.
Yeah, my experiments. I actually did do, I mean, if you go back and watch those videos, I did a 40-day water fast where I only drank water, didn't eat food, didn't take vitamins, no tea, juice, nothing. So that could be interesting for people. But apart from that, there's really nothing. It's just like almost like a video diary. And United States, I never considered because I don't know. It's always been right next door to Canada. It's pretty much the same culture, same people for the most part. There's very little difference. Most people watching these videos assume that I'm American just because of the way I look and the way I sound.
Yep.
But if I, at one point I was looking at, okay, where do I want to spend the next decade of my life? And India ended up taking the cake over any other place. Like I'd even looked at China. China's a very like impressive country, right? There's a lot of innovation happening there. There's a really interesting story unfolding in China. This was back in like 2016 when I was sort of thinking, where do I want to be? Because I definitely didn't want to be in Canada. It's where I was born and I found it boring. And I thought, where can I grow more as a person by having experiences that are challenging and different and stretch my point of view or my character as a person. And China was there, but the problem is that you have to learn Mandarin, and that's like a huge barrier to entry. Whereas India is largely like an English-speaking country in the middle and upper class segments of society, and which is where most foreigners live, right? There's very few people living in like tier 2, tier 3. So it just felt like very accessible. And even today, like we're making videos in English, right? We're not making anything in any other Indian language, although we should at some point, right?
Maybe we will.
Maybe we will. But yeah, that's why I chose India. And then I met someone and, fell in love, got married. So now there's a very good reason to be here. Prithvi, the next one is for you.
It's easy to come from 0 to 500,000 for all of you. It's from Vignesh Shinde. Vignesh, I think I also have covered a little bit in brief in one of the earlier questions. It's not easy, but I think it's worth it, the whole journey. And we are very glad that we did not have an early success. Now that in the last month or two, we have been having great response in terms of number of views, in terms of number of subscribers. I think all of this sounds well worth. And yeah, for us, it's all about putting in those efforts. And like Caleb also said, knowing that what is working for audience and trying to sort of experiment and sticking to that has been the key. And yeah, it's not been easy, but it's been worth it.
So there's a series of questions, and we'll put them all on screen probably at the same time here. Whoa, this is gonna be hard.
Punarava.
Whoa, what? How did you get that? Punara.
I've seen his name. Like he used to ask questions in every single live stream that I did.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, you still remember him, hey?
Yep, I remember.
That's amazing. And he even said the same. Sorry, he or I don't know if it's a.
I think it's a he. Yeah.
Missing your YouTube live streams, Prithvi.
Yep. Maybe someday. Or we might start YouTube Instagram live streams now that we have a very sizable following there. So
and all the questions that we got on Instagram were like very business oriented.
Yeah.
whereas on YouTube community it was all about us. So it kind of makes me realize like people on Instagram are thirsty for business content.
No, because people on Instagram have sort of
People on Instagram, what?
no, I think people on Instagram had discovered us through the content, which was like very on YouTube. It has been like a journey. It has been people have in different capacities they have discovered us, but on Instagram, I think the kind of impression that we have given is like we are a very business oriented, very serious kind of that. Doesn't make sense, but
Yeah. Okay, so Punarnav
Vishwanath.
I'm so sorry, Vishwanath, was asking like summarize this whole journey of the two of you and give us a few important takeaways for anyone who wants to start with content creation. What would they be? I think the content creation side we've already covered, but then also Krishna Gopal and Shubham Agarwal asked similar questions, like what's the backstory of how Canadian ended up in this venture in India? And also Shubham asked, how do you think of start this channel? Please explain your journey, that how Prithvi and Caleb met. And this video has gone on for an hour and 20 minutes, and we were planning to let it be 10 to 15 minutes.
15 to 20 minutes.
So I think like one of our answers ends up being 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So this video is going to be for the fans, the true fans that want to sit through this long content and hear us talk. And it's not, I don't think we're going to be able to cut this down, even if we like 10x the speed.
Yeah, let it be.
But to not go on any longer, I think probably, I don't know, would you agree we should just send people over to the video that we already made?
I think we should, yeah.
Okay. So we actually did cover this when we hit 10K subscribers, and we made this really nice video with like pictures and music and everything, talking about the journey. That was the time when Varun was also part of our team, Varun Guru.
Yeah.
He's since moved on, and used to be working on scripts and I don't know, used to be working on scripts and research, did an amazing job, but ended up getting another opportunity. So moved on. But that video is pretty comprehensive and exhaustive about why I came to India, the story of how Prithvi and I met, and you should definitely go check it out. We'll put a link to it in the description down below, and if I remember to, I'll put a pinned comment as well, in case you miss it.
And maybe you can also check that in the I button somewhere.
Oh yeah, somewhere. Who knows
Wherever.
where it's going to be. But yeah, definitely check it out. And guys, thank you so much for watching our videos and for being excited about India's startup ecosystem. I think this is something that someone at some point commented and said that we like sort of, specifically they were commenting about me, but I think it extends to the whole team, that we identified this gap in the market where there was a lack of Indian startup content, and we exploited that opportunity. I don't know if I'd use that word, but we definitely saw that there was a need. It took a long time for us to kind of, for the desire for that content to catch up. But we did see that existing Indian startup media was just dropping the ball on this. They weren't covering it well. And the ones who were covering it well were mainly making it in Hindi and other Indian languages. And so we thought there's a scope for someone to enter this space and succeed in English. It only honestly really started to pick up, I would say, like post Shark Tank India. That's when startups really became popular online, with people watching videos about startups on YouTube. And we were sort of ready to ride that wave. And I think we're at the bottom of this funding winter at the moment, and Indian startup ecosystem is sort of at an all-time low. But I think people are ready for it to pick up again. And I think you even said the other day that like the next 5 years or something are going to be, like based on the research that you've done, are going to be pretty important for Indian startups.
I was reading an interview of I think it was a panel discussion by Rajan Anandan. Yeah, he's at Peak 15 Ventures, and he said that the funding winter is more or less over, and there is a lot of money which is ready to be deployed into the Indian startup ecosystem. So, yeah, I think the next 10 years are going to be. If you see, like, I'm a very active reader about the market and economy, and the next 5 to 7, 10 years are going to be amazing. India is around a $3.15 trillion economy, and like a lot of these big banks and economic institutions are predicting India to be a $8 trillion economy by 2030. And I think now is the time to talk about Indian startup ecosystem, being a part of it. And the coming time is going to be very, very exciting for India. India is the fastest growing major economy in the world, and the startup ecosystem will actually pave way to that huge growth that the country has to see. So we are actually very excited, and I think this is also a very good point, very good note to end this video on. Like we had started with the comment from Shubham. Shubham will very soon be back with that 1 million Q&A, and I hope we get to do that in as less time as possible. But until then, thank you very much for being a part of this journey, and over to you, all of you. Any closing comments?
I'm good. Anything else?
Thanks, guys.
Okay, cool. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Speak. Speak. Okay. Okay. My. It's over. Woohoo.